once again, I'd like to welcome everybody back to another episode on the Buffalo History Channel. Thanks for your support through this fall 2023 season, fall and winter season. Very glad to have this gentleman on. We've been working on this for a while because he's been a very busy man about the city of Buffalo. I personally call this brother a man for all seasons. You have seen this guy. He's been, he's been on the stage. He's been on the big screen. He's been on the small screen, on the mic, on the radio. So he just does it all, and I'm glad to have him right here on the Buffalo History Channel to share his story with us tonight. None other than the one and only Jon Cesar. Jon, welcome to the Buffalo History Channel, my brother.
Oh, me? Oh, I thought you were talking about somebody else. I'm blessed. Thank you. I appreciate you doing this for me.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning. That's always a good place to start because I know you had your early beginnings you were at Performing Arts High School, and you started on the stage working under the great Lorna Hill. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, the Performing Arts, so Lorna wasn't at Performing Arts at that time. I was under Fortunato Pesamente and Jesse Martin. Jesse L. Martin. He just went by Jesse Martin then, but he's Jesse L. Martin now. Right. So he was like a couple of classes ahead of me, and I was a sophomore, and then they were like seniors, and so I got a chance to do some plays, and then I actually met Lorna. How I got into performing arts is because of doing a play with Lorna Hill at Ujima. And my teacher, my 8th grade teacher came there to the play and see me. I was failing. Every year I failed. I was remember those little Regents exams you had I used to just put in you sank my battleship. I used to just spell stuff and just because I wasn't serious with school and I didn't want, I was a class clown. And so this was like, this was 8th grade. But 2 years prior to that, I was at school's North Park Academy, where I was discovered by a lady named Miss King, who was a music teacher, and she's the one that put the battery in my mother and my back for me to go to performing arts. So I auditioned 3 times to get in, and that last time I was about to graduate to go to graduated from 8th grade to go to freshman year, and that's when my teacher from Riverside Academy came to Ujima and seen me in the play, and I had 2 lines. I was like, "Oh Lord," and I fainted, and she seen that, and because she let me know the next day in class before anything got going on that she was there, and and like I said, somehow I passed the test. And that's how I got into performing arts.
Well, you know what they say sometimes when you're the failing student or the class clowns, that doesn't always mean that you're not going to be successful. Those are those are like the roses that grew out of concrete, so to speak.
Yeah, but I couldn't play. I was too short to play basketball, and I was too lazy to play football, right? So, and I was good at ribbon, you know what I'm saying? So I was like a ribber, but I never did want to be an actor. Like the first play at North Park Academy was a Pinocchio, and, I was just like a background in that. And then like the lead got sick. And at that time, I wasn't on marijuana or anything like that because I was in grammar school. But shortly after, I did find marijuana. But I had a photographic memory. I remember the whole script, and then so I was like the first Black Pinocchio in grammar school. So it just kind of snowballed from there. I never did want to be an actor, or I just was like, I liked comedy pretty much, but I didn't want to be a stand-up. But I just like comedy, and I was a good ripper, and people just like to have me around to make them laugh.
Okay, so after you left out of high school, was that when you made your transition over to interning at WBLK?
No,
Okay.
I it was B Cam came
B
before.
Cam.
Like, all right, so yeah, so once I went to performing arts, like I started, like I said, I had no, I used to tell people that I was a communication major because I was so homophobic because I didn't want people to think I was gay. It was almost like Faye, right? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? No, I didn't want the people to think I was Leroy off of Faye. I can't read. I said I can read. You remember Leroy
I
off of
remember
Faye?
that scene. I remember.
You remember that? Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
I was like, I was like, I didn't want people to think I was. So I used to tell people, I used to tell people I was a communication major, and Claudine Ewing. I used to follow her around. I was like, eat lunch with them guys because I was like, they're so yeah. So I never did want, like I said, I said it just happened, and then all the cute girls were like in the plays and stuff like that, and all the girls was like Goo Goo Gaga over Jesse Martin. So I was just like, shoot, let me hang out with Jesse. And she was, you know what I mean? And so I ended up doing plays there. And then I did a show, a Halloween special show, Stan Coleman. We won an Angel Award. This is really what gave me my thirst for fame and stuff. I did a Halloween special, 30-minute Halloween special on Channel 2. We got an Angel Award. Stan Coleman directed. I was the lead. I was a safety kid. They would play commercials like all, and then people would be like, "Hey, that's a safety kid." I say, so that's when I was like, "Oh man, I could do this, right?" You know what I mean? I could do this, and so that's when I started going hard at it. And then like right uh, uh, after high school, after performing arts, I thought I was just gonna make it, so I moved straight out to San Diego. I moved out there because I had an uncle in Orange County that I was trying to go live with, which was closer to Hollywood. So I ended up living in San Diego. And, I thought I was going to get into the movie business. I ended up working at a movie theater and then getting a job. And then, you know what I mean? Things didn't work out. So I came back to Buffalo, got with B-Cam. I think it was
B
like
Cam.
89 I got back, 89.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 90. I got with Tafawa Hicks. And
Yes.
but even before that, like I said, it was Nate Hare and Robert Gitney. They had
Yes.
a program at ECC, Fathers Forever, and so I got paid to produce my own TV show, and with the helpings of Larry Frazier and Carl Duke and Tafawa Hicks. I think you came through the Carl
Yeah. I came
Carl
through.
worked on
I
it. It
came
worked
through
out.
both B Cam and Sonship. Yep.
Sonship. Okay, so yeah, I think but so yeah, so then I got with the B Cam thing, and I started, Carl and them showed me how to. They gave me some students to train. I didn't know what I was doing. We were all learning, and that's when I started doing improv. We wouldn't write script. We would do like after school special without the script. We would just video. So I was directing stuff, and so I was getting a stipend from St. Augustine. And then so one day I decided to go down and interview Brian and Kim from WBOK. I went down there to interview them for my little public access show. And from there, Brian was like, "Do you know anybody that that's looking to help produce a morning show?" You know what I mean? And just splice it because at this time it was reel to reel, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I took some film classes, and so I knew how to do film. I knew how to edit film, like film and with the tape and stuff. So that was like the same thing with the reel to reel.
Right.
So and DJ Hooker had just moved up, so they needed someone to, At first I was interning, and then I finally I got on the payroll. It was like $5 an hour. Lou St. James, Debbie Sims used to sit in with me. Lee Pettigrew, Jake Cornelius, Terry Davis, and Frank, which owned the station. Like, yeah, they would actually sit in with me and show me like how to do this thing. And then so I got the WBOK and stuff.
Yeah,
And that's when I got with
you sat at the feet of all the heavyweights of WBLK. And
yeah,
your show on public access, that was Black Caesar TV, correct?
yeah, that was the Control Room, Black Caesars Entertainment,
Yep.
and it's been going since the '90s. I still run it on there, and it's just Jon Cesar uncut, but it's still Black Caesar Entertainment, but it's Jon Cesar. I just switch it a little bit, and yeah, but it's still running to this day. It is
Okay.
actually running, and
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So after public access and WBLK, what was the next stop for you, John?
Well, when I was at WBLK, I met so many people, Doug, like Bernie Mac, Dave Chappelle, um, like everybody. And these Jamie Foxx. These was before, because they had to come to BLK first. They had to come. This was the beginning of the Def Comedy Jam. Buffalo yet? You know what I mean? Like I met Naughty by Nature and Apache and Dread and Black Sheep out in Rochester. Like this is before they even came to Buffalo. Right on my little, you know what I mean? I've been filming since the '90s. So I met so many people during their fan for the Rotten Rascals. Jean I became real good friends with Jean. Ended up helping directing a video with them. And so I made so many good comments because we were all coming up. You know what I'm saying? Bernie Mac, I got an hour interview with Bernie Mac sitting at the Hilton. You know what I mean? That's going to be on my documentary. So many people, Prince de Jour,
Yes.
invited me to come down to BET. You know what I mean? But I just met so many people. And so, yeah, after BOK, and I left again in '94. But I had so many contacts, like I said, with people out in LA, Joe Public, it's just so many contacts. So and then I met this guy DT, Tafawa Hicks brought him through, and this guy DT, Dwayne Terry, I met him, and he linked me up with like all the West Coast E40. You know what I'm saying? I ended up going out to because I was moving back in '94. I decided to move back out to California. This time Hollywood, and because I had so many connections with people that were on there, like I said, Bernie Mac, and then DT was in Oakland, California, working with Tupac and E40, and so I flew out there and I stayed like a week with DT. I wanted to learn how to do the music video stuff and all of that. And so D was like, he was moving, and I had just moved out there. So he ended up moving back to Buffalo, getting the TV show. Everything that I left, DT came back and started over and doing his own thing with the late night noise. And I stayed out in California, and that's when I got a job at the Comedy Store. And so everybody that I met in Buffalo, from Bernie Mac to Chris Tucker, like you name it, man. There's so many names. Everybody, like I said, and so I got a job at the Comedy Store. Jimmy Walker, Paul Mooney used to talk to him. I was the guy at the Comedy Store. I worked the telephone, so all the artists had to call me, find out what time they went on, where could they? You couldn't park in the Comedy Store. It was hard to park. It was a small little parking spot, so I mean, you had to call me and ask me if it was cool for you to bring, somebody to your show. I'll tell you what time the show you're going on, but also other people call in. And so that's why I kind of got my start with the stand up. Like I said, I think I just wanted to be a writer, but I was just like, well, let me, like Dave and Bernie and those guys used to like put me on in the beginning of the show, and it'd be like three people, and then they sometimes put me on at the end of the show, and it'd just be the janitor sweeping up, right? So I was like an opener or a closer, a fill in for some of these guys, and so that's how I got into the stand up, and it kind of got to my head because I was like, man, I could do this, but I didn't realize they was there to see Bernie Mac and Dave Chappelle. They were there to see. Those courtesy laughs, right? So it kind of went shot to my head, and I thought I was funny, so I started doing stand up. You know what I mean?
Okay, and then now when you came back to Buffalo, I wanted to talk about how did you get connected with the film community out here in Buffalo?
Well, I've like I said, I've always been in the radio, TV, wherever town I go to. Well, I would say when I came back to Buffalo, I didn't right away get with the film. I ended up moving to Canada. I ended up meeting my wife, and I actually started my film, film career up there in Canada, Toronto. I stayed up there for 10 years, and I worked on things like Get Rich or Die Trying. Um, Man, I worked on a lot of stuff. The Incredible Hulk, they shot that up there, and so this is before I got a chance to come back to Buffalo, and then it didn't work out with me and my wife. She used to see me on. She seen me like I spent a month with Robin Williams. I'm sorry, when he was up there filming a movie, Man of the Year, and we hung out like after the show and did little comedy joints. And my wife was like, Chris doing something bad because I wasn't a citizen yet. She was supposed to sponsor me, and you know what I mean, blah blah blah. But she was just like, no, she don't want me. She didn't want me to. She didn't want me to act. She wanted me to be a preacher and stuff. And so, um, so once I separated with her, okay. So when I left Canada, when I separated with my wife, I ended up coming back and linking up with Corey Green. But while I was in Canada, I was seeing like who was doing what in Buffalo as far as film. I seen Corey Green did he had the documentary.
Forgotten
You know
City, yeah.
what I mean? Forgotten City, and then my man Traz Johnson, Pete Johnson. He was like rapping with DJ Noodles, and so I would always peep, T Brown. You know what I mean? Like I would always say LinkedIn. I was writing actually. Whoever was doing, you know what I'm saying, film in Buffalo, I would shoot them an email, and I was writing, and I was letting them know that I was doing, what I was doing in Toronto and stuff like that, but keeping it on the low. And then so yeah, I just gotta I was like the internet had just happened, and so I was doing like little spoofs. You know what I mean? I did like a little spoof, a commercial spoof. I think Corey seen that. You know what I mean? I think I sent him that, and so yeah, he called me in one day, and he says I got a part for you, but it's not comedy. And I was like, man, I'm from the theater, baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't said nothing straight to a can of paint. You know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, this is a godfather of Buffalo, the Romans, and it's his family, and it's a motion picture. He told me though, he said, um, if we give them rings, then you can't be in, you know what I mean? You're not gonna be able to do it. You know
You
what
said
I mean? So,
you said
I don't
if
know,
he
maybe
got
he just banged me.
you said if he
He
got
got bang rhyme.
Ving
You know how
Rhames, okay.
I spell, yeah, you know how I say his name. I
Yeah.
messed the man's name. I meant Vang Rhymes, yeah. I call him Vang Rhames, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, but Corey I think they was just joking, but they was like, yo, if we get, Vang, uh, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to God that, hey, let something happen to Bennett, maybe he get, ran over, maybe his toe would get ran over by a little, wagon or something like that. And so long story short, I got a chance to let people see something that I believe would have took me maybe 20 years to do a part like that. It was so cool. My first right out the gate, like, you know what I mean? Because like I said, I went to perform. And I've always took myself as a serious actor. The comedy was just like, I was just like effortless. You know what I'm saying? So, I trained with some major theater people, Lorna Hill, Presidente Fortunato. I was with Jesse Martin when he was being taught. You know what I mean? So I also studied with some Hollywood people out in Hollywood, actors as well. And so, yeah, so the comedy thing, I mean, it was just a left hand and a right hand.
Right.
I had, my right hand, my punch, I felt like my punch out, my knockout punch was my drama, was, was the drama, and the comedy was basically just just my jab. I jab you with that, so that's what I always thought, and so yeah, so I came back. We did the Romans, and then like after that, everybody like wanted me to, be in their movies, and then I happened to spend a few months with Reginald Hutland and Jonathan and MJ. They came down and shot the Marshall movie, and they stayed in Buffalo for like a year, and so it was like an extra on that. And then we did the Purge, you know what I mean? And then
Hmm.
some local cats started doing some films that they, put me in, and yeah, it just, what I mean? It just got, now I'm in the union. Actually, this is a film that'll be coming out around this time, September, around the time this airs. This is called Unbelievable. It is a fan-based movie about the Bills, three-generation family, about the Scott Rubin. He wrote for National Lampoon for 20 years, and he also wrote Punchline with Sally Fields and Tom Hanks, the comedy movie. So I just linked up with another writer, comedy writer. Um, and yeah, so Unbelievable. I do a little thing in that, and yeah, I've been doing like I just did another Bills. I got like 3 Bills commercials. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, everybody in LA like, yo, when you coming back? When you moving back out here? I don't think I would have had this. I think got some awards from films, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Right.
think none of this would have happened out in Los Angeles or Canada, or I just don't know. So I came back here. I came back home, and then the pandemic. Like before the pandemic, I was moving back out because Reginald and those guys they've been like schooling me and to produce, because you know Doug, there's not a lot. Like you already know you gotta move to Atlanta.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of movies that look like us in this town, right? You know what I mean? I gotta pretty much produce. I'm working on the Lance Diamond story. I'm gonna do a book and then a movie, the Lance Diamond. You know what I'm saying? And like I would have never thought of doing the Lance Diamond living out in L.A. or living in
Right.
Canada or
So
living
what's it
in South
what's it
Carolina.
what's it been like to work on the story of Lance Diamond?
Oh, I'm in boot camp right now, man. I'm in boot camp right now. I'm doing some things with Robbie Tuckett from the Google Dolls. I got story like all his friends are still here. His sister is still here. So like I'm getting I'm not gonna do an impression of Lance Diamond. It's gonna be Jon Cesar, the actor, doing Lance Diamond, doing the bio on him. It's sort of going to be like JoJo Dancer meets Five
Yes.
Heartbeats meets the Temptations. Every every story you know what I mean. I really want to get Robert Townsend to direct it. You know what I mean? For me,
Mm.
like I just wanted to act in it, Doug. I didn't, but I found myself I have to produce it and co-write it, and you know what I mean. And
Right.
so it's deep, man, because this is the first time I've done something like this, where usually I get sent the script and I read it and I do it, but here the people are still alive, the places are still here, right? So I've been dropping like little videos. I've been doing stuff with some of his band members, some of the people he used to sing with. I've been just to get people still in his mind, keep them in their minds about Lance and his birthday. We put something together. You know what I mean? It's Lance Diamond Day, so it's really been deep. And for someone who, because Lance was a strange dude. He didn't want nobody to imitate him. Once he passed, he told his agent, to burn all of his suits. He don't want nobody to make no type of money like off of him. But he did um, start on a movie script that he liked, that he was working with the guy Kevin Powell, who which did the documentary, because there is a documentary of Lance Diamond, and that's what inspired me to go on and do the musical, the movie. But yeah, Lance was a strange dude. He didn't want, I mean, he didn't want people to know his real birthday. He don't want you to know his real Lance Diamond is not even his real name.
No, it
You know
isn't.
what I mean? You know what I mean? So he so much mystery to it. It's not, it's not a Wikipedia movie, right?
Right.
This is gonna be something. This is gonna be something special, dog. Really
Yeah,
something
so
special.
so what are your thoughts? I mean, we look at Buffalo now, and Buffalo certainly is on the media level. It's certainly come a long way from where it was, where we remember it back in
Uh,
the '90s, and now it seems to have like a growing film community right now. What are your thoughts on that?
well, I thought, to be real with you, you know, the actors are striking right now. It's all politics, man. If I would have known, I would have went into politics and then started, instead of trying to master my art, I would have went into politics or into some kind of way of raising money, getting money. And it's all about who you voting in. The politics is, and getting the breaks. Like they have a right now. Like when these movies came through, The Marshal and The Purge, when we had the rush boom of the film, because it already happened. This happened already, right? And now we're afraid that it may not be coming back. They didn't build studios here and everything because they thought this rush was going to come. So I actually thought it was great, and that's why I joined the union, because I thought it was going to be more union jobs and stuff. But like I said, Doug, there's the films that come through here. They don't. We're not in it. They're not in them. Like they're not. You know what I mean? And I know some of these films are supposed to be in other places and stuff like that, but there's there's you know there's not a lot of films that come through that they need people of color to be in it. And now they're doing the LGBTQ thing. Like that's more competition. Now I got competition with a guy with a dress on now, right? You know what I mean? Before I wasn't tall enough, or you know what I mean. But now, like I said, my man Stephen McKinley Henderson, he was up for a Tony Award, and there's nothing against transgender people, but I was just like, wow, what color dress do you got to wear to win an award, to get a Tony Award? You know what I mean? And then, like I said, nothing against those guys that did win that, but honestly, as an actor, I had to go through so much with just being casted, looking for a black, it was a pimp or some kind of street thug, or the Robert Townsend story, the Hollywood
Yeah,
Shuffle. That was real. Yeah,
yeah,
that still goes on. You know what I mean? And yes, we got people like Denzel and Sam Jackson and stuff, but that's a different elite, though. You dig what I'm saying? That's the you know when's the last time you see the next Denzel or Samuel Jackson? Who's been the next person that just what I'm saying? Who was that? That
they're
dude. You
needed.
you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's my feel on it. You know what I mean? Even hey, vote for this and I'm like, so if I vote for this and we do strike, that's going to hurt me because I'm not going to have any money. I didn't went to part time now because I'm union, so that I can work the union job. But we're going to strike now. You want me to strike, and so that basically means I'm not going to have any money. You know what I mean, for a union that I just joined. You know what I'm saying? So it's that's a tough situation with the film. We right now we don't know if it'll ever get back to how it was in 2015. It has slowed down now. Like there's a little independent stuff being shot, but not like I said when the Marshall and the Purge, um, You know, so it's we waiting to see, man. But I know I'm here, and I'm gonna do some. I'll make sure I'm gonna do some stuff. You know, I want to do a Sly Green movie, a 22 caliber killer. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Dyke in a Blazer. There's so much people that you know what I'm saying. There's so
I've
many people
told
that came through.
I've told people the Buffalo History Channel is chock full of stories.
Yeah,
Movies, good potential movies.
I need you, Doug. I need like you
Yeah,
know it was my cousin Doc. He was like you know Doc Martin.
yeah,
He was like, yo, you need to hook up with Doug. How come you and Doug ain't never done nothing? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? Because I've always admired you. I'd sit back
yeah,
and look at your stuff and you know what I mean? See
yeah,
how a documentary is supposed to be done. And
yeah.
but I definitely, yeah. I know you're busy and stuff, but I figure when the time is right, just like how this
Absolutely,
is
man.
happening, you know,
Absolutely,
you
absolutely,
know, and
man.
then because you got all the footage anyway, so I'm gonna end up having to pay you anyway. You got
Yeah,
all the footage.
yeah. We'll
So
definitely get there, brother.
it
We'll
makes
definitely
sense
get
to
there.
put you in.
And hey, man, it's been
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
looking to
I'm
look,
just watching it on Sunday.
we're looking forward to seeing more from you, brother. And it was certainly a pleasure
Yeah,
to have had you
no
on the
doubt.
Buffalo History Channel. We've been working at this for a while, and I'm glad to finally
Oh,
get you
yeah,
here.
yeah. The devil's a liar. Also, I also forgot too. I also I got back on WBOK about 5 years ago with Griot Nation. I joined with
Yes,
Griot Nation. So they've kind of like taken me like everywhere. So I remember before we were talking, I didn't get a chance to meet. So that's where I'm at now with Griot Nation Radio. We're syndicated. So I'm still doing the radio. I'm still doing the comedy. I'm still doing movies since like the '90s. I haven't stopped doing the same. Like I'm still doing, you know, one feeds the other. I love both of them. You
hey
know?
man, us OGs are still hanging in the game, brother.
No doubt. I salute you. I appreciate you doing this, Doug. You know what I mean?
All right, brother. Salute to you as well, my man. Right back at you. Thanks for being on the Buffalo History Channel.